This man is coming to the Prophet ﷺ, showing him like how much he is suffering from hunger, and he has this rock tied on his belly, on his stomach. And the Prophet ﷺ had showed him that he had two rocks. They do not get scared. You know what they said? This is what Allah and His Prophet ﷺ promised us. And what made you to be here in that situation? He will tell them, because I used to command you to do the right thing and I was not doing it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. In the following ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, lima taquluna ma la taf'alun, kabura maqtan inda Allahi, an taqulu ma la taf'alun. He says, O believers, why do you say something and you're not acting according to it? Why do you say what you not do? It is a sin. It is hatred. It is hated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is hated in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you say something and you do not do it. Now, we want to talk like in detail about this issue. Let's say that someone is teaching the obligatory actions in Islam. And he's teaching the people, okay, these are the Islamic essentials, these are the Islamic pillars, these are the main things or the mandatory actions that you have to do in Islam. And he's not doing them. That falls under this category. That he is saying something and he is not acting according to it. I recall the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that there will be that person on the day of judgment, that he will be in the fire and he will go around with his meaning his intestines will be out, and he will be like going around in the fire with his intestines, with the insides, and his situation is really bad. There will be some people in the fire, they will ask him, and they know him, and they will tell him, they ask him, so and so, weren't you the one that commands us to do the good and to stay away from the evil? And he said, yes. And they will tell him, and what made you to be here in that situation? He will tell them, because I used to command you to do the right thing and I was not doing it. And I used to prohibit you from doing the bad things and I was doing it. So that is the person that is doing opposite to what he is saying. لِمَ تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. If you really want the people to accept what you say and to follow you, then you should be an example for them, not only in words but in action too. Because actions speak louder than words. You cannot be teaching them something, commanding them to do the right thing, and in the meantime you're not doing it. They cannot be prohibiting them from doing the wrong things, and at the same time I'm doing them. I am not going to be a good example for the people. We see Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how he was a role model. And amazingly, the ayah that talks about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as being the role model or the best example for the believers. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. In which surah this ayah is mentioned? In Surah Al-Ahzab, surah number 33. And what Surah Al-Ahzab talk about? Surah Al-Ahzab talk about a very hard situation, very difficult time that passed by the Muslims at that time in Medina. They were like surrounded by the tribes that came from every part of Arabia, and they besieged the Medina and they blocked all the ways, and Muslims were inside. There is a betrayal from inside from some of the tribes, and there is also the enemies outside. So from inside and from outside at the same time, it was a really tough situation for them. And it reached the point that some of them even could not go outside for meeting their needs and doing anything inside Medina. And not only that, but starvation and famine and drought and so many things happened to them. They were so hungry. And one of them came to the Prophet ﷺ complaining that he tried, when the person gets like really hungry, so what happened? The stomach go all the way like inside, and it's like he cannot take it. So it actually it's very painful. So what they do, they used to have a rock and tie it. So they will actually try to bear with the pain. And this man is coming to the Prophet ﷺ, showing him like how much he is suffering from hunger, and he has this rock tied on his belly, his stomach. And the Prophet ﷺ had showed him that he had two rocks. So amazingly, the ayah that talks about the Prophet ﷺ as being an example, it came in this surah, and it comes, and it comes in like within the context and the ayat that talk about the Ahzab and the Confederates, the tribes that came surrounded Medina, and the difficult situation of the Muslims, telling them that your Prophet ﷺ, he is not distanced away from your situation. He's suffering the same way that you're suffering. He is having the same hardship that you have. You have the best example, you have the role model in your Prophet ﷺ. The ayah says, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرَ وَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا ولما رأى المؤمنون الأحزاب قالوا هذا ما وعدنا الله ورسوله وصدق الله ورسوله وما زادهم إلا إيمانا وتسليما. Subhanallah. When the believers saw the Ahzab, these tribes coming surrounding Medina, they did not get scared. You know what they said? This is what Allah and His Prophet ﷺ promised us. And they knew that these people are coming to fight against them. But they said, this is what Allah and His Promise and His Prophet ﷺ promised us. هذا ما وعدنا الله ورسوله وصدق الله ورسوله. And this increased them in faith and in complete surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the point is, the Prophet ﷺ used to be the role model. He used to do what he was teaching and preaching at the same time. They started building the masjid in Medina. He was one of the people carrying the rocks and the stones, helping them. When they were digging the trench around Medina to protect it from these people, he was one of them digging the trench in Medina. Subhanallah. No, so this is the first situation, that when it comes to the obligatory actions, mandatory things in Islam, so if I am teaching them, I need to abide by them. I need to do them. But if someone is teaching the sunnah or the optional deeds, and for some reasons he is not, it's not like intentionally, but unintentionally he is not doing them, meaning that he has some kind of excuse. Okay, someone is teaching the people, okay, you do the sunnah prayer for this salah and for this salah, you do the duha prayer, you do the witri prayer, you do this prayer. But in the meantime, this person might have an excuse not to do all what he is teaching the people. Is that something that this person will stop or will have to stop what he is teaching because he cannot do them when it comes to the sunnah? No. When it comes to the sunnah or to the optional deeds, if the person cannot do all of them, it doesn't mean that he will not teach the people and tell them about the sunnah. So this ayah will not actually apply to this person. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لِمَا تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. Why do you say something and you do not do it? كَبُرَ مَقْتًا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. It is hated in the sight of Allah that you say something and you do not do it.